Auckland, 1908. The town was bustling and excited. In the harbour lay 15 ships of the United States fleet on a goodwill visit. The Prime Minister, Sir Joseph Ward, was coming from Wellington to welcome them, and he was coming by the Parliamentary Special, the first through train to run over the main trunk line. 23 years before, in 1885, Premier Robert Stout turned a sod at the edge of the King Country, beginning the great task of bridging the railheads of Te Awamutu in the north and Martin in the south. Into the back country moved the workmen. They built their shanties and began the job. The tough country was their enemy, picks and shovels their weapons. Looking back from this age of bulldozers and carryalls, we're astounded at the work of these men who built a railway over the mountainous King Country. The gap between railheads narrowed as the years passed. Northbound travellers left the train at Oakuni, took coaches to Makatote and continued the journey to Auckland next day. On August the 7th, 1908, Wellington's Thorndon station had its finest hour. The Parliamentary Special was due to leave for Auckland. The ladies were in their finery. Officials hurried about, getting in one another's way. This was a truly historic occasion. For 50 years, people had dreamed of this day. The gap had been closed. The capital city and the Queen City would now be linked. Sir Joseph Ward might well be pleased. And so the Parliamentary Special was underway. Where the railheads had met, in the bush-covered King Country, a silver spike was driven. The new era had begun.
The Auckland Express is now arriving.
Today, 50 years after the first through train, the novelty has long worn off the arrival of an Auckland Express at Wellington. It's 7 a.m., the beginning of another day's work on the main trunk line. By the time the Limited Express rumbles into Wellington yards at 9:30, railway workers have slipped into the day's routine. 630 has nearly finished loading. 5 days a week, this train hauls goods to Auckland at express speeds. It's 11 o'clock, and shunters are assembling wagons at Martin. After midday, they'll be picked up for Taihape and all points north. Martin is a junction. Here, the new Plymouth line is left behind, and the main trunk turns inland, heading up towards the mountains. Surfacemen keep the permanent way in operation. This gang, working south of Taihape, clears the line at 12:30 for a northbound goods. The long haul through the King Country lies ahead. From here on, the going is tough. The main trunk is an artery. The trains that use it are the lifeblood of the North Island. South of Waihuru, the line is at its highest point, nearly 3,000 feet above the sea. Rails split the tussock land in two, and every 24 hours, 27 trains pound across the plateau. Charlie Longman has lost count of the number of times he's driven over the great steel viaducts north of Waihuru. At 2 o'clock, his train hits the longest one of them all, Makatote. Hundreds of feet above the bush, the viaduct stands silent. Only the clatter of the trains applaud the men who worked here. Today, unheeding trains pass this deserted place where 50 years ago the railheads met. This obelisk is erected opposite the spot where the Right Honourable Sir Joseph Ward, Premier of the Dominion, drove the last spike of the North Island main trunk line on November the 6th, 1908. A southbound goods comes through National Park at 3. Alan Hannon, the station master, puts out the tablet it will pick up. This tablet is the driver's pass, the ticket that allows him to proceed to the next station in this untamed country. The spiral, 7 miles of twisting steel track. To the layman's eye, even today, this is wilderness country. Yet the engineers and surveyors planned every tortuous bend of this line more than 60 years ago. At Tamaranui, Harry Anderson has a 5 o'clock cuppa while keeping an eye on the yards. Here, northbound trains, split up and hauled over the spiral by several engines, are joined again. And here, southbound trains are broken up for the long climbs ahead of them. The shift is finishing in Tikawiti's train control room. All day, the heavy traffic has shuttled smoothly over the line the pioneers dreamt of, planned and built. Into the main trunk, the branch lines pour their goods and freight and passengers like streams into a river. Frankton Junction is a clanging, crashing foundry, turning out trains all day and all night. Now it's dusk in Auckland. Loco 1280 waits to take the limited express down the line south to Wellington. In the past 12 hours, produce has been moved from the farms to the sea, passengers have exchanged towns and cities. In their thousands of tons, goods and people have found their destinations. It's been a busy day, and there's another busy night ahead on the main trunk.